Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to THS Lives, episode 19. With me is Jared and Mike, and we're going to talk about conventions, Brightburn, and welcome to THS Lives, vagina. Episode 19. With me is Jared and Mike, and we're going to. There we go. All right.
We got an echo.
No, that was my playback on my whatever. So, guys, how are you doing?
Not too bad for a Thursday night. How about you, motherfucker?
I am awash in emotion.
I'm awash in Blood Wings, Pumpkinhead's Revenge for the PC.
Is that a game?
The 1994 computer game of Pumpkinhead 2. It's really awful, but I found it on eBay. I had it when I was a kid.
They made a game. I love that.
Nobody knows. It's just it's a Wolfenstein 3D knockoff where you just go through like a labyrinth and you shoot fireballs at weird monsters that aren't in the movie. And then occasionally when you collect enough crystals, you go into clips of the movie and you can like take items out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really bad. Then eventually you fight Pumpkinhead. It's a really shitty game, but it's such a weird thing that I had to have it in my collection. Like I had it when I was a kid and I tried to get into it. And even when I was like 12, I thought it was stupid. But now it'll proudly sit on my shelf next to all my other weirdo games. I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Cool
Nostalgia.
Yeah. Nostalgia. I'm awash in nostalgia too. You know what? That reminds me, I got something. May as well, if we got anything new. I got this in the mail the other day. My second copy of Never Hike Alone.
Very nice. I was Lex was going to pick one of those up from Vince at Pop Rock and Horror. I don't know if she did or not.
Yeah, I didn't need this, but I just want to support Vince because he's a good dude, friend of the show. Did you get to hang out with Vince at all at the show?
Oh yeah, Pop Rock and Horror. Yeah, me and Lex hung out with him Friday night. We went out to dinner with him, and then we hung out at dinner Saturday. And actually on Sunday we hung out with all weekend pretty much.
That's awesome.
It was cool to meet him in person. And then he was walking around as Ghost Jason. We got some cool pictures and stuff.
Oh, so he was in the costume. Okay. I was wondering about the picture.
Crushing my head and stuff. Lex got a bunch of photos. It was real cool. I like him a lot. I mean, I talked to him online a bunch, but it was cool to actually like hang out in the flesh, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we got to hang out with his flesh too at Horror Hound last year. I just wanted to be as creepy as possible with saying that. So
hang out with his flesh.
We'll get Vince back on the show eventually. Maybe to cap off the Friday the 13th contest that we'll be running here directly. As soon as Brian's done with the full Monty, he'll be cutting the video together, which I believe opens tomorrow. So if anybody's in the New Jersey area, go check out the full Monty starring Brian and his penis.
Yes.
So.
When are the showings? I'm
not sure. He posts the website on his Facebook page yesterday. So, you probably find out that way. Just saying.
If I can make it up there,
you just want to see him hang brain. That's all you want.
Well, duh.
Plop.
What are we doing? So is anybody watching tonight? Let us know in the comments here on YouTube, because we do not have Facebook Live. That's Brian's game. Let us know. We're going to talk about Brightburn, the movie that's been out for a couple of weeks now. I think all three of us have finally seen it. I really enjoyed it. It was a mixture of two of my favorite genres, superhero and horror. So I thought it was pretty cool. You guys want to talk about that now, or you want to?
I never even heard of it. What is it?
So you want to touch each other's tips then? Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
No, Brightburn was cool. I saw it with Lex last week. I thought it was good. I wish that it was a little bit more serial killer that happens to have superpowers rather than super villain. Like, that he's being controlled by the ship. Spoiler alert, he's being controlled by the ship. I just thought it'd be cooler if it was more like he's going through puberty and he's getting everything skewed because he's a sociopath. And
he doesn't know how to act, kind of thing. Yeah.
like
he also thinks that he's superior. Well, he is, but
that's something they had that, and that was a cool dynamic. Like when they find his porn stash and they find like the anatomy pictures, I'm like, that's really cool. And then just kind of drop that. Like if they would have kept it with like him being obsessed with that classmate, that girl, and like the impetus for all of this stuff was just to try to win her over, like in a misguided attempt, and like trying to woo a girl, he ends up just murdering everybody. That would have made for a really, really disturbing movie, and I think that would have been like fucking spectacular. But
you think it would have been more effective that way?
Yeah, they went more in like in the comic book direction, which is totally understandable, and that's what the audience is. So it's not. I'm not saying that it's not really a gripe. It's just I wish that was that's the direction I would have taken it personally, and that's what I would have liked to have seen. But I think that they did a damn fine job of making. There's nothing wrong with the movie. I just wish it was that. But it was a good movie. I thought there was a really cool stuff. It was cool to see Roy from The Office getting killed. And
yeah, by the way, this is a spoiler conversation.
Oh yeah, shit. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, spoiler. Well, the movie's been out for like 3 weeks now. So
yeah, no, it's all good. It's good. But I was going to ask you, what do you guys think of some of the effects, like the jaw scene?
Oh, the car crash scene.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was cool.
Good.
I liked it until it cut back to him just holding. Like, I like. You mean you ran out of money to CG this effect? I think that he should have just been dead, and then it would have been great.
Yeah.
But you kept it going too long. You got greedy. I'm like, don't. But it was good. I liked it.
In a way, I thought it was effective because it made me cringe just enough.
At first, it did. But then when he's like holding, I'm like, that motherfucker would have bled out in seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It made my date cringe pretty good when we saw it. Saw the effect. I'm like, damn, like kind of laughing at the same time, and she's cringing. And I'm like, maybe that's why we had problems. Anyway, but there's a couple standout things that I like the scene where the mom's in the house and he's just like flying back and forth through the house and shit, and like. I think that's kind of terrifying. I was very happy that they didn't go the route where the mom kind of like brought him back from the brink. I was really worried about that watching
that's where it was leading up to for sure.
Yeah, either that or she was going to kill him, and it didn't go that way. I love the end. Spoiler alert again. How they explain what happened to the house.
Yeah,
that was good.
Trey convenient.
I liked the last bit of it. I thought, I'm like, this is definitely going in the direction that like, I'm just like, this is why I like James Gunn and the stuff that he's associated with.
Yeah,
this is very much the kind of cynical, bleak stuff that I like, and I just like what they did, like the setup, and then I'm just like, yep, good. Glad they didn't go the traditional route, and it made me very happy.
I don't know if it was his brothers, but it was written by Brian and Mark Gunn.
One of them is his cousin, and I think the other one's his brother. Something along those lines. They might be both, but you're all basically St. Louis products, so I'm proud.
Yeah.
So,
and I really want to spotlight that kid that played Brandon, Jackson A. Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
He did a really fucking good job. Like,
he did.
Like the entire movie, like you could just see his eyes change from where he was still like that wide-eyed, cute little kid until the third act where there was like nothing in his eyes left.
Yeah. I mean, Pseudo Echo could have made a song about him.
No life in his eyes.
There's a boy with no life in his eyes. Well, he's got a lot of life in his eyes. I mean, if you using that power he had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a cool movie. I was very happy with it. I mean, now being the superhero comic nerd that I am, talking to the person I went with, we discussed like what should be next, and she wanted to know more about where he's from. I'm kind of like the same way, because she as we're walking out, she goes, "Where do you think he's from?" I was like, "Krypton," because I mean it's very much like a Superman. Like if Superman went bad, I mean everybody's been saying that since the first trailer came out. And but yeah, I'm curious to know where he came from, but it can't be that interesting. Just like nobody wants to see a story about Krypton, because everybody like first of all, Krypton is basically like Earth, where not nobody has power, nobody has powers. So it's probably the same thing there. It's nobody has powers there, or they all have the same powers. Then what's the fucking point? Because then everybody's on the equal playing ground. I'd like to see a sequel. Did you guys notice that? What's his name? Rainn Wilson's character. There was a picture of him at the end.
Yep.
From Super. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't catch that, but I saw some memes about it.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, oh my god! I went home and watched it immediately after.
I love Super.
It's
so fucking funny.
It's great. It's so much fun. I forgot how good that was because I watched it back. Was it 2010 ish?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Yeah, I watched it back then, and I really enjoyed it. And then kind of just shelved it, and haven't watched it since. And then I was like, oh fuck it, I'll try it again since he was in the movies. So it makes me wonder if there are going to be more because they at the end they talk about other supers, like that are in that world. So I do kind of hope there's another one, not necessarily with the Brightburn kid, but some of these other stories they were talking about. We spoiled this movie a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's in Brightburn, Kansas, I mean, come on. Superman, come on.
Right. And you're from
Kansas? A real place?
I'm from Kansas, and I've never heard of such a fucking place in my life. Or
Brightburn doesn't sound like a real town anyway.
Or Smallville. But that's okay. I mean, it's like you said earlier, it's like the anti-Superman. Or not even like the anti-Superman, but like
it's like a Elseworlds what if story, basically, is what I got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if Superman was bad? And another thing I want to comment on about the movie is the cast and how great the cast was. I thought anyway.
Slither was in there, which made me happy.
Yeah.
What?
So all the people from Slither were in it.
I know.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Michael Rooker was in the credits too.
Yeah.
I started cracking up. It's like I knew he would be in this.
He had to be in there somewhere. He's in all of James Gunn's other movies. I think he legitimately is. I bet he's going to show up in that DC movie too. But yeah, I recommend Brightburn. I think it's a fun movie. Brian just finished final dress rehearsal. Apparently, love you guys. Thanks, Bri. Love you too. How's your dong doing? I hope it's ready for the. So dress rehearsal? Does that mean you showed your ween?
The undressed rehearsal.
There you go.
Undressed rehearsal. There we go. So anyway, Brightburn. You guys, yes or no? Do you recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it. I liked it.
Okay.
I give it a thumbs up for sure.
I'm gonna be like the guy that does hardball when I host a show. Brightburn. Yes or no? Mike Lombardo.
I'm gonna
or whatever that show is.
It's definitely worth a watch, especially if you dig superhero stories.
So the question is, when I buy the Blu-ray, because I will, where do I put it? In here, or with the superhero movies?
Horror. It's definitely a horror movie.
I would consider it a horror movie.
I agree 100%. It is a horror movie, and
especially how it ends.
Geez, well, not just that. I mean, like he had a trophy. Remember the girls that he was obsessing over his mom was a trophy, in where the ship was.
Yeah.
Did you not catch that there, Lombardo?
What it says again?
He had a trophy. The mom, he had the mom, like the girl he was obsessing over his mom down in the basement or whatever where the ship was.
Yeah, well, I thought that was like she was dissected, like the anatomy picture.
Yeah, but still, like
I figured he was just beating off to it or something.
Probably. I mean, I was in the theater, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Brightburn, we all say check it out. Mike this weekend was at a horror show. Mike, tell us all about it.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ray.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All right, so Jared. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was at the inaugural Pop Rock and Horror Convention. This is the first year in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
So me and Lex Quinn went up there, and it was a lot of fucking fun.
Tell me more about this Lex Quinn.
Lex Quinn she's a bizarre creature. Her natural habitat is in a towel.
Yes.
And is only seen in glimpses. She has a bizarre mating call. Michael!
She's like Bigfoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, she crosses the screen and stops.
I'm not even sure if she's real. It could be a hoax. I don't know.
You know what? That'd be your luck, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, tell us about the show. You said you got to hang with Vince DeSanti. Did you get to see? Was Drew there too from Never High Clone?
No, but Tom Matthews was, but I did not see him.
Who's Tom Matthews?
Huh?
Who's Tom Matthews?
From Friday the 13th, Part 6. It's Tommy Jarvis.
Never heard of her. So no, I'm joking. Yeah,
together like signing autographs and doing stuff. I did not see him. The only celebrity that I actually like got an autograph from was Robert. Oh my God, how did I not fucking remember his name? Silent Night, Deadly Night, Santa. Robert. Blah blah blah. I can't remember his name. I'm bad with names. Robert Brian Wilson.
Oh, from
Blu-ray of Silent Night, Deadly Night. He was a super sweet guy. I did talk to a couple other celebrities just randomly. I have a really funny story though. I was running the Scream Team releasing table, and what I was doing is I was pitching to people walking by and saying, "Hey, are you a fan of indie horror?" Because the horror crowd, a lot of people are there for like Friday the 13th and Halloween, and they're not into the indie stuff, but a lot of people are. So a gentleman walked up to the table on Sunday as he was leaving, and I did not realize it at the time. I had to ask somebody, but it was Alan Troutman, Tarman from Return of the Living Dead.
Really?
And I said, "Hey, sir, are you a fan of indie horror?" And he looks at me and says, "No, actually, I'm not." And he walked away. And I was like, "Nah, that guy's kind of a dick, whatever." And then I was like, I'm like, "Wait, was that a celebrity?" And then I thought it was Tarman. I'm like, "Wow, fuck you, Tarman. Like, you have a career because of an indie horror movie." Granted, I understand. Like, I appreciate his candor and him being honest because when you say indie horror, the first thing that sprouts to mind is like really bad Walmart bargain bin shit. So I get it.
Let's sort of throw an example out there. Like, I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday.
Well, that didn't even make it to Walmart. That's how bad it was.
That's true. Damn.
That's not even the dollar store wouldn't even take that shit. But no, so it annoyed me a little bit, but I was like, you know what? I appreciate him being honest. Like, I get it. Because, it is what it is. But no,
but you had to hustle anyway, though. You had to hustle. You had to hustle. You had to sell some movies.
No, absolutely. And we did. We sold a lot of movies. And thank you to everyone who stopped by the table and bought stuff. You guys are awesome. Yeah, sales were great. The show was really cool. The rest of the vendors were really awesome. And the staff was super friendly. I really liked the show for a first year, especially. It was really good. I'll definitely be going back next year, hopefully, running the table again. And I highly recommend it. Pop Rock and Horror. It was a good time. I got to meet Richard Band as well. He was the table behind me.
How'd that go?
Sunday, when everyone was packing up, I finally went over there, and I just said, like, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk to you earlier, but I just want to let you know that I think that you are an extremely talented composer. I said, next to Christopher Young, probably my favorite composer. And he was like, thank you so much for that. And then he was really cool. He started telling me, he's like, I'm actually going out to dinner with him in a couple weeks. He said every few months, me and Christopher Young and a couple other people, we call it our decomposers dinner. And we all go out to dinner and talk about the industry and everything. And he was telling all these stories. I'm like, man, I'd fucking kill to be at that table. But he was very nice. We talked about the death of physical media and, how streaming is pretty much killing everything. And it was really cool. He was a really nice guy.
Awesome.
Very genuine. And I talked to Jim Crutt, who was the helicopter zombie in Dawn of the Dead.
That's the third time you met him, isn't it?
Yeah, Lex made friends with him at the York Comic Con, and he's a super nice guy. We're actually talking to him right now. Hopefully, we can get him as a guest at the Lancaster Film Festival, which would be really cool. But he's a super sweet guy. So I just got to hang out with a lot of people. I got to see a lot of folks I don't get to see very often, and it was just a good time. I bought one thing aside from my autograph. I had to buy this because I'm an old woman. And I love jigsaw puzzles. And I was lamenting how there are no good jigsaw puzzles anywhere, like horror ones. And then I found this.
Oh, that's what you got.
Lex found this. This is 1,000. Well, here's the whole image. This is a 1,000-piece thing puzzle.
I love it.
Mind.
Love it.
Lex bought one too. They're only $20, and I'm like, man, that is the coolest. That should be the fucking. If that was the art on the Steelbook Blu-ray, I would have bought it.
Who made that?
Mondo and Project Raygun.
Okay, that's super sweet, man.
Yeah, but that is like the coolest fucking art ever. So I'm very much looking forward to putting together that puzzle. That was the only thing I bought. I wanted to buy some other things, but and I also bought a copy of the very, very cool movie that we all are familiar with, Murder Made Easy.
Just for me to order a copy.
Embarrassed to say that I did not have a copy previously because when it went up for pre-order, my car died that week and I had a lot of financial trouble. So I rectified that and got my copy over the weekend. I'm very much looking forward to watching it.
Who's red?
What is happening?
I don't know.
You having an ice cream party?
Yeah, my kids want ice cream, so I told them bring it in here and I'll scoop it for them. So
Nice.
you can see Ray scoop ice cream live for his kids.
Reynolds, what's up?
Hi, Jared. It's nice to see you again.
And Mike Lombardo, he's
hi.
award-winning
Yeah,
director.
no,
You can tell him by his real name. Award-winning director Mike Lombardo.
Yeah. Get with the program, kid. Didn't you see the contract?
It's in the contract. So his baseball
I
team
was
is
going
now
to invite him
6-1,
over to play
guys.
Pumpkinhead 2 with me, but now
Did you hear me or not?
what?
We won tonight. His baseball team, they're 6-1.
Oh, excellent!
Win.
Congratulations, man.
Nice.
You get any touchdowns?
Mike. He probably doesn't. Here, take that.
I would play football.
I know you would.
I want
He
to do
got a
that.
couple of first downs.
He walks twice because it's weird. So he hits left-handed, and the kids can't seem to figure out where the plate is whenever he's up to the bat.
I
So
also got a giant bruise.
yeah, he got hit last week or earlier this week. So anyway, anything else happen at that con?
Trying to think.
Yeah, a lot of moves.
Does he have more than me?
It was a lot of fun. I don't know. I just had a really good time hanging with people.
Back when.
I got to hang out with the booth next to us was the Monsters by the Maker and Asylum Antics, which are two guys that actually local that do really cool custom masks and stuff for like haunts. So I hung out with them a bunch, and I'm probably going to be hiring them to do some work for me.
Ooh.
I was really, really impressed with their stuff, which is really cool. Yeah, so they do really cool like slasher masks and stuff. I really like, and a lot of props. I really like what they were doing.
You want to get them on the show sometime? That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be. I'll actually. That's a great. Remind me after the show. That I think they did really well on it.
No, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, when Jared and I were at Horror Hound last year, we were looking at they do Mask Fest at Indianapolis Horror Hound, and we were looking at some of the great work we saw there, and talking about maybe possibly getting together with them about getting them on the show, kind of try to promote their work, and why not? You know.
Yeah, well, they were cool.
Sorry.
They were first time vendors, and I was just watching. I always do this. I always, kind of gauge my neighbors to see how their pitch is and stuff. Because I mean, I'm not to toot my own award-winning horn, but I'm a con veteran. I'm a really good salesman, and
this fucking guy.
And I say that because literally every time I do a show, my booth neighbors are like, "Damn, you're really fucking good at selling," which happened this time. Actually, also
except for the Tar Man.
Except for the Tar Man.
You come back and tell me when you sell him a movie.
Well, you know what? So I've got two. I'm 2 for 2 because I got Tar Man, and then Matthew Lillard. I tried to hard sell him a skin mask by saying, "Are you ready for a bold new look?" And he said, "That was disgusting." So he didn't like that at all. And that was a piece of 10. I didn't know who the hell he was. So
you ready for a bold new look? Oh man,
that was funny. But the dude that I bought the Thing puzzle from was across the way from me. He was Phantasm Comics. It was a store in New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me, he came over to the table to look, and I started to pitch him Doomsday, and he's like, oh, no, I have it in my store. And I'm like, oh, no shit. He's like, yeah, it's a great seller. It actually sells a lot. I got to make an order. I was like, oh, wow. And then, like, halfway through the weekend, I was talking to him. He was like, you really got this shit down. Like, you're a really good salesman. And I was like, thank you. And then the booth neighbor next to me, this chick, was like, I really like hearing your pitch. I was like, cool. So anyway, I always watch my booth neighbors and stuff, and these guys were young, and it was their first time. So I was giving them some tips about selling, but I mean, I was really impressed with how well they did hawking their wares. And they had some bigger ticket items, and that's always really hard to sell to people, but they did a good job. I was impressed with their enthusiasm. Because too many times you see people at cons, they just sit on their phone and they don't interact with the customers.
Yeah.
And that's a death sentence. It's like, I can go to the fucking mall and buy this stuff for less, or I can buy it from you. Like I said, you're not selling your product, you're selling yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If they think you're cool, they'll buy anything from you. And that's a big sales secret, especially at a horror con. It's like, it's so easy to have conversations with people. Like half the weekend, I just geeked out over people's t-shirts and talked movies. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm also trying to sell things. Here, look at these movies. So, but anyway, long story short, Pop Rock and Horror, great con. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm definitely going to go back next year. And I'm excited. There's another one, Creature Feature Weekend, that looks really awesome. Which unfortunately, I'm going to be at Genre Blast during that weekend, so I won't be able to attend. But they're in the old Horror Fund Hotel in Gettysburg.
Well, when is that anyway?
Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
That one looks like a great show, too. They got a killer lineup, and the guy that runs it is really nice. I got to hang out with him a couple times at New York Comic Con, and then at the Pop Rock and Horror, I saw him. Very nice dude.
Yeah. So I've got. I was going to mention. You said they have a good lineup. You're talking about guest lineup, I'm sure.
Yes.
Even though sometimes one of the biggest factors for me of going to a con sometimes is the vendors, because there's certain vendors I like to buy like posters from, or like I last year. I mean, this is stuff I could probably make, but last year at Days of the Dead, I got these 2 framed photos, and one was like the technical layout drawing of the Lament configuration.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the paper's all dyed. It looks like there's some blood splatter on it and stuff. I'll send you a picture of it. And then like newspaper clippings from Friday the 13th and another one. And they're like, $5 or $10 a piece. And I'm like,
my buddy Kevin bought some of those for Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think that vendor was there.
Yeah. Oh, really? They're really cool, man. And then they had these coasters like to put your drinks on. They're like this big. They're like just tiles, but they're glow in the dark. And they had pictures of like Jason, Freddy, Tarman. We have the Tarman one. Oh. And then they're glow in the dark, and they were like 2 for $5 or something. So I got 4 of those, and stuff like that is like, that's the stuff I like to go to. And not to mention like Mask Fest and seeing all the cool masks that I can't afford. And there was one table at one of them that we went to that this guy made so many different versions of the box, the Lament configuration from Hellraiser. He has a whole table full of Hellraiser boxes that he like sculpted out of wood. He did metal, machine, all kinds of stuff. But they weren't all the same, the box that they use in the movie. They were all different versions of the box. Like, that's cool. It was really cool. Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, because like Days of the Dead, and it's coming up in July 4th or 5th, 6th, and 7th in Indianapolis. I got a free ticket. The lineup is garbage, and I'm still on my path of trying to get my Friday the 13th book filled. I'm missing Ken Kersinger, Derek Mears, and Ted White and Morga of the Jasons to sign it, and I need to fucking find Ted White somewhere. So because he's old as shit, and Richard Brooker's already gone. So sorry, Blues won, by the way. So pretty excited about that. But anyway,
that is something though to be said about cons, because you find these little known vendors that do their own handiwork that you won't ever come across, and sometimes that's the best fucking shit you can find.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the unique stuff, you want, like, this con really did feel like, I was saying this to the Phantasm Comics guy, I'm like, this feels like an old con from like 10 years ago, before everything became mass merchandise like Walking Dead shit because
Yeah, that's annoying, honestly.
I'll tell you, like, there was a lot of like old school stuff here. Like the Phantasm comic guy, he had original posters from like the 70s and shit. He had like all these old Vestron posters and crap, and like actual like collectibles. They had original issues of Tales from the Crypt. There was people that had their own masks. There was like, you know, there was like horror vendors. My only gripe was that there was a couple bootleg vendors, and that really pisses me off. Like,
doesn't piss Jared off, does it?
No.
I don't like bootleg stuff, like especially when it's movies that are available now. Like that bothers me. But I mean, the vendor room, it felt like an old school vendor room. Like
To be fair, those movies are not available right now that I got.
That's true. Necronomicon, and what else did you get?
No, if there's stuff that you can't get elsewhere, like I'm okay with that. But these
Fright
are
Night 2?
that you can.
Fright Night 2, yeah. Maximum Overdrive, but that I didn't know Vestron was going to release that one.
No, that wasn't available yet. I don't think it was even announced yet when you got it.
No, but that's available now.
Yeah.
But no, so you know, it was cool. Like I miss the old school days. Like when I was a kid and I went to Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. As a kid, I bought this and I still have it. It's a fucking. It's a magnet.
Oh yes.
Hand sculpted. This thing weighs like a pound. And like this is the first thing I ever bought at a convention when I was a kid. I freaked the fuck out. It was like Satan's Sideshow. And I still have it. It's like stuff like this is great, you know. They don't sell shit like that anymore. Now everything is just fucking pop figures and fucking NECA toys that were like just movie maniacs with like
Funko dolls.
Well, they're like $25 more expensive. That's all anyone has. The one vendor had all the old Alien toys boxed and shit. And I'm like, I'm staying the fuck away from this booth because I'm going to end up blowing all my money. And like, you know, it was a lot of that kind of stuff. Like the shit that I miss seeing, like the stuff that you don't have to go on eBay for otherwise. And there was a lot of that here. And that was really cool. Unfortunately, I was broke as shit. So it didn't equate to anything except for me getting that puzzle. But
that puzzle's pretty damn rad though.
It's fucking, I don't know if I want to glue it together when it's done and then hang it on the wall or leave it as a disassembled puzzle. I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
That's a good question.
There's positives to both. That's
yeah. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably leave it in the I'd probably leave it in the box. That's me. That's from me, guys. Enjoy that. Sorry, I just found out the Blues won. They're 1 win away from the Stanley Cup, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not a hockey fan very much, but it's awesome if St. Louis gets a championship. So.
It's relative.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like I said, I was gonna look up actually the guest list and tell you how frightfully bad it is for Days of the Dead. This may be the last year I go to Days of the Dead if they.
Aren't they under new management now?
Yeah, they're under new management, and they're kind of buttheads because, like I talked about it. They what was it? They were not accepting free passes that were given out last year at the cons, which kind of sucks because they would do these like raffles, and if you went to these booths, you could get a free weekend pass for the next time or the next year, and they decided they weren't gonna honor those. And so, like, I was like kind of pissed. I was like, I have one. I got mine from Paul Bearer Press. I'm not gonna tell you how I got it, but me and my brother-in-law, we're no, not like that. We're regulars at the Paul Bearer Press booth. I've got 8 or 9 shirts. Love shirts. Hopefully, I'll get to wear my Barrel Ground shirt at Horror Hound. No kids around. So anyway. We went up to their booth. I had to go back, and this is when I bought my Zombie 3 shirt. And the guy's like, hey, you guys are back again? I'm like, yeah, man, that Zombie 3 shirt's staring me in the face. I got to get it. And he's like, okay, what size? And, I was like, XL, let's have it. He's like, here. He just slides them, or take these too. And I'm like, what is this? And my brother-in-law looks. He's like, free passes to the next. Awesome. So we took them, and I got my Zombie 3 shirt. So anyway, I emailed them and asked them, like, what the hell? What's going on? Why won't you do this? And they're apparently gonna stick to honoring those for this year. So after there was a big Facebook scuttlebutt with everybody. So check out this lineup for Indianapolis. You guys ready for this? Hold on to your tits. So this is Indy Days of the Dead. William Shatner, known for all of his work, right? Oh, who's Brian? Brian's here.
Brian is.
He's driving.
I am driving.
Okay, so William Shatner, Pamela Anderson. Yep, Sid Haig, Kathleen Turner.
At this convention too.
This is a horror convention. Yeah, Kathleen Turner, Edward Furlong, Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, Kurt Angle, Dennis Christopher, whoever that is, Damian Leone and David Howard Thornton will be there. Nick Stahl, Kiss Resurrection, I guess a Kiss band, cover band. Rico Ross, Sam Jones, who played Flash Gordon, Michael Biehn, Carrie Hansen, and Sergeant Slaughter. What the fuck? It's like there's nobody there that I would want to meet. So
I would love to meet Kathleen Turner and get her to sign Serial Mom, but it's probably very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume. Like when they posted, they did this whole like scavenger hunt type thing, and when they announced Kathleen Turner, I was like, that's a big fucking letdown.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it is to me, but
Serial Mom's the only one I could think of.
That sounds like they're getting like the big ticket celebrities. That's kind of, I don't know. I don't understand why these events are becoming pop culture cons, not horror cons.
well, and that's the thing. They changed their banner, and it says, what does it say now? Horror, wrestling, music, pop culture. It's like,
I gotta tell you, and I'm probably gonna be pissing people off by saying this, but there should not be wrestlers at horror conventions. I do not fucking understand it. It annoys me to no end. Like I think it's worse than the Walking Dead fans being there. Like,
Yeah.
I have nothing wrong against wrestling, but it's not. Like, I don't know why the fuck that's become such a thing in the last few years. It drives me crazy.
Diamond Dallas Page was in the Devil's Rejects. He was at that con we went to in Horror Hound.
who?
Well, like, at Scares That Care the one year, there was fucking Boogeyman. So I ended up. The joke was on Boogeyman, though. He's very extremely religious, and I was hanging out with some people in the lobby at like 3 a.m, drinking, and he happened by and was hitting on the one gal we were talking to. And then somehow religion came up. And there was a ghost hunter and Boogeyman, and I had a 3-hour debate about religion with him and this ghost hunter, and it was so funny because they started to get very uncomfortable because I think I was winning. And at the end of it, Boogeyman, like, he got up to leave, and he just looked at me and he just shook my hand. He's like, I gotta say, I really respect you in this conversation. I said, I wish that more religious people were, open-minded and willing to discuss things intelligently and rationally like this. This is a really great conversation.
Right.
To the ghost hunter, I'm like, you're just full of shit. But it was funny because I'm pretty sure I convinced Boogeyman that God doesn't exist. It was a really good conversation, but aside from that, I've never had a pleasant experience with wrestlers being at the con. You just get a lot of really obnoxious wrestling fans running around, and it just doesn't fit. It's like, this is not the place for that. Go to a monster truck rally and meet some fucking wrestlers.
Well, why is there not a wrestler con? Why is there not a wrestler?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I thought that's what WrestleMania was, isn't it? Like a steel cage autograph match or something.
Well, I don't know why they don't just have it, like, because that was one of my biggest gripes with the last couple of Days of the Deads I was at, was like seeing Sting walk down the hall and then seeing all these guys dressed up with wrestling gear and carrying belts around. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I saw the Goldberg luncheon at one show, and I'm like, what is this? You just sit in a room and watch Goldberg eat lunch? Like, what is this crap?
I mean, they could be saying the same thing, but why is there horror?
To be fair, Goldberg was in a horror movie.
Well, yeah, he was in Santa's sleigh.
No.
Which a lot of people brought up over the weekend, because I was really happy that the Silent Night, Deadly Night Santas were here, because I could very easily pitch White Doomsday. Then I'm like, oh, are you a fan of Christmas horror? Is there anyone wearing a Garbage Day t-shirt? And it was always an instant sell. There was one guy who, like, fucking stopped in his tracks. He had an Ira's Toys shirt on, and I'm like, how many people know what the fuck that's from? And he's like, nobody.
Wow.
That's the toy store from Silent Night Deadly Night that Billy works at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that motherfucker had a tattoo on his forearm of one of the snowflakes that's painted on the window. And he's like, that's why I got this tattoo, because no one would know what it was unless they know the movie. I'm like, I know the movie and I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, but he was super hardcore. He said that he is self-proclaimed has the largest Christmas horror collection of all time. He's got like 9 Silent Night Deadly Night posters from around the world, like down in his living room and shit. And it was very cool. He was a cool dude.
Oh wow.
That's kind of weird to me, but I mean,
Hey, he bought a copy of White Doomsday, so he's aces in my book.
he's ace of his book. Well, you're just a good salesman.
It's true.
That is true.
Yeah. Brian, what's going on? You're on mute and we can see your forehead. What's going on?
Oh no, I just kept myself on mute because I'm driving, but I wanted to say hi to you guys.
Hey, boo.
How is the show going?
It was great. We did our dress rehearsal, and of course we got naked and showed my dick. It's a lot of fun.
So are the other guys showing theirs too?
Everyone's showing their dicks.
Oh Lord.
Everyone, even the people who pay for the tickets, they come in and they just show their dick.
When or where is this show at, Brian? Is this near your house?
Yeah, it's in my house in our backyard. You saw it.
I mean, is it close? I mean, I'm trying to see if maybe me and Lex can make it up there for one of the shows. I don't know if the schedule's going to work out for me, but I'd like to try.
Yeah, no, take your time. I'll post up the link on my Facebook page. It's musicmountaintheater.com, I believe, and it's over in Lambertville, which is about a hop, skip, and a jump from New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, that's where Phantasm Comics is.
Oh, okay, sweet. So yeah, it's a really good show. It's funny. It's about the working class getting laid off from their jobs, and they decided to be male strippers, but they're all out of shape. And it's a really good, heartfelt story. And I'm really excited because this is my first lead role ever, and I've been auditioning like crazy for like a bunch of fucking random shit. And it was just nice to hear back. Hey, we want you for the lead. And I'm like, oh.
And this is a musical as well.
This is a musical, yeah.
So when are the showings? Is it going to be running for like a month, 2 months? What are you going?
Every weekend of June. We have Saturday is going to be a double show, matinee, and followed by the evening show, and then Sunday will be a matinee. So our 65 and older crew can come in and see some hang their wangs. And
you said that's every weekend in June?
Every weekend in June, yeah. And tickets are online, but Mike, if you guys end up coming, you and Lex, let me know ahead of time so I can get you comp tickets.
Ooh. I'll run it by Ms. Quinn. I would definitely love to try to come out there and check it out. My schedule's a little insane right now, but I'll definitely try to make it.
I hear you. I wanted to come on the show because even for a little bit while I'm driving, because I miss you guys, and I feel like I'm like in another world right now doing this stuff, and it's only got 3 more weekends left, and then I'll be back in the world of horror. It's just been a pain in the ass because I've been working at 5 like 5 o'clock at night, and then I drive to Lambertville, and then perform there, and then I go home super late, and then I gotta wake up in the morning for True Green at 5 a.m. So it's a fucking hot mess, but that is eggs off now. First show starts tomorrow, or and they have shows every weekend.
Excellent.
I think the next one they're doing is South Pacific. Not a whole lot of horror.
I think he cut out.
Yeah, he's cutting out a little bit.
A lot of wangs hanging in South Pacific.
A lot of wangs. That's all I heard.
Not a lot of people are hanging dong in South Pacific. It's like
that's what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sound of Music hangs more dong than the South Pacific. That's Mike's favorite musical, Michael Martin, The Sound of Music. We talked about that. We had a double feature when Mike stayed over. We watched Volumes of Blood, and then we watched The Sound of Music.
Well, that makes sense. That only makes sense to me.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. And I think it was like a midnight show when Mike came over. So we the Volumes of Blood was just a pregame until like getting wild and naked for sound of music.
I just had to know how you solve a problem like Maria.
Exactly. Like, you were a wild animal that night. It must have been on the Olive Garden that we ate.
So you're talking about you'll be back on the show like full time in July then?
Yeah, I'll be back. I got a couple things I got to do for the Horror Syndicate. I got to put some fucking video together. I don't know.
fucking video.
Some bullshit. I just gotta like, throw it together and.
Did you watch any of that yet?
I got the email, and I started watching like 5 minutes of it, and then I was like, shit, I cannot sit down and do anything right now because I'm like constantly going back and forth between work, the rehearsals, and of course ultimately being a dad, which is like 4 to 5 hours a day, which is not a lot of time. So Vicky's been holding it down at the house, but I'm excited to do this stuff. Hopefully this will lead to more opportunities. I'll definitely talk to you guys a little bit about an opportunity that I was given. It will be in the hush hush for right now, but things are looking out for Brian in the entertainment world.
Nothing's hush hush to us. So when we're not on the air, you're gonna have to tell us.
Oh yeah, no, we're off the air. I'll tell you guys everything. I'll bear all.
Well, our show's open for the night. No.
There's a ton of wangs and dongs hanging out on the after show. We're all gonna get naked.
Well, that's just usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came in on the end when you guys were talking about Brightburn. That's the James Gunn Superman alternate universe movie, right?
Yeah, you didn't get to see it yet?
I didn't see it yet.
Don't watch the full show. We spoiled the fuck out of it.
All right, I won't. I didn't really have a desire to see it because there's other movies that are out right now, like John Wick 3 and Detective Pikachu, and I just...
Detective Pikachu, are you fucking serious?
It was good. I liked it.
I want to see it.
Lex Quinn made me watch it. I enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Yeah, my kids want to see it too.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. I finally got Vicky to watch the movie with me, and she absolutely loved it, even though she was like fighting with me to not see it. She wanted to see Avengers Endgame instead, but I wanted to see this movie. We saw Climax a couple weekends ago, the Gasper No movie, the guy who made Irreversible and Enter the Void. That movie's really good. Like it's like The Thing meets Chorus Line, if that makes any sense. It's about these dancers in the 90s, and they're practicing for a big show, and someone puts LSD in the sangria, and they've been rehearsing for like a week in this like warehouse, and there's like a huge snow blizzard, like a snowstorm and a blizzard, and like they're stuck, they can't get out anywhere, so all they're doing is practicing, and then they party and they start drinking the sangria, and they all start tripping out, and then it turns into like this like really like dark horror movie.
Paranoia frenzy.
Yeah. There's a lot of death scenes and shit like that. It's really good.
It was called The Climax?
It's called Climax, yeah. Yeah, and it's got a killer soundtrack, too.
Does it make you climax?
It did. I climaxed all over the place.
Well, that's wonderful.
I
mean, that's all anybody ever wants.
Yeah. I'm climaxing in a tail. Everyone's got tails on tonight.
Oh, my.
Oh, you guys see my face now. Hey.
Yeah. Where are you driving from?
Lambertville. All the way back home, which is about an hour and 15 minutes.
Jeez.
But it's worth it. I should make this drive up to Lancaster, PA, and see my Boo Bear over there.
You should.
I should.
My house is about to get some remodeling done, so...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's my landlords decided to jack our rent up, so I said, fuck you, unless you fix everything. So now they're doing several $1,000s worth of repairs. So they
finally talk to them.
Years.
Isn't it funny how that works? When I had a place with a few other guys that we were renting, the landlord tried to raise the rent, and we're like, no, you need to fix this shit before you start charging us. And then he like half-assed everything, and then ultimately we, obviously I don't live there anymore, and none of the other guys do too. And the house went into foreclosure. But it was the same thing when we were renting a house. The landlord was just like, we're gonna up your rent, and we're like, you need to make these repairs like now.
Yeah, they're tearing out 2 of our floors and replacing our dryer, our dishwasher, some ceiling fans, a faucet, a water heater. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
That's more than a couple grand at least.
That's gonna be expensive.
A lot of money. So
Why
they
did they keep up on it in the first place?
they can
Jesus.
enjoy that extra rent.
Yeah.
5 years from now when they get it back.
Dryers are fun. I actually fixed my dryer. It was making like a deathly sound screaming at us. Like
That's what ours is doing.
Yeah.
How'd you fix it?
YouTube, and of course tools. But
I fixed my own toilet on YouTube the other week because they never came to fix it. So the water bill is going to be like $1,000.
Shit.
fuck it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Well,
It's on them, not me. So
yeah. He's got to treat the water first, and then you can manhandle it.
mm-hmm.
But the dryer was fun. I had to take the whole like dryer drum out and everything, and then I had to put on a new wheel in the back, a dryer roll, and I put a couple of dryer wheels on there, the ones that help rotate the drum, because it's a fucking mess. And I found out how to do it on YouTube, and thank God I was like getting late tonight.
YouTube, nice. YouTube is pretty magical with that stuff. I had to change the thermocouple on my water heater like twice now, and the YouTube has everything. You don't need to even get a fucking degree anymore. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, a lot of filmmakers out there need to start using YouTube to utilize, like, stop making movies that look like shit. Like, you can make a movie with your iPhone if you buy like cheap shit, and it can be like a decent like movie. But you don't have to go to film school anymore. I mean, it helps, I guess. I don't know. I remember talking to Justin Steven about it, and he was really like, film school really didn't do anything for me. It's just like, he found his niche. I mean, obviously, but I know a lot of people that went to film school and just did nothing with their fucking life, like nothing at all. And now you can just go on YouTube. You can find anything you want to watch on YouTube, and you can make it. You can make like prosthetic limbs and like like you can make like squibs and shit like that, like stuff that you would have to like pay for. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think I'll probably buy a manufactured squib over like than making one. I don't like steel gunpowder. But...
Well, do you guys want to wrap up the show and talk offline with Brian a little bit? See, because I'm itching to find out what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, I have to get going. I have to go to sleep. I'm working early in the morning.
Well, hold on. Let's just wrap up the show. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.